How long did those tats
Talk
take?
to me. This took just over 3 hours for both of them. Because as my tattoo artist says, I'm not a little bitch.
Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's just.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Official Unofficial podcast, where we talk about New Girl. Today, I have all my friends with me. Right over here is Mr. Al Tribesman. Al, what is up?
Hello, Erica. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm super excited to be here today. And down here, as always, is Ben. Ben, how are you?
Hello, Erica. How you doing today? What is up?
Ben? It's like, everything's up. So, yeah, what is that accent?
It's my Fancyman accent, part 2.
Fancyman part 2 accent. And back again, because he just loved doing part 1 so much with us, is Rahul. Rahul, how are you?
What up? Thanks for having me back, guys. This is going to be
Thank
great.
you so much for coming back for part 2. It just wouldn't feel right if you weren't here, I don't think. So I'm so glad. So let's jump into it. Fancyman part 2. Air date was March 27th, 2012. Director was Matt Shakeman and written by Berkeley Johnson and Kim Rosenstock. So, bit of trivia for this episode. I love this. Schmidt makes a reference to Harold and Kumar, which I'm sure we will discuss later. So actually,
Matt Shackman, that's he directed a bunch of Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes. I've seen that name a lot.
Okay.
That's cool. I
Love
still need to watch that show. So,
Oh, it's a great show.
Great.
Good.
But Schmidt makes reference to Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Jake Johnson actually plays Jesus in the movie sequel, A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, that was released in 2011, which is awesome. So,
That's awesome.
All right. So let's jump into the recap. Jess and Russell go on a couple dates that both end rather awkwardly. One with him patting her on the back in a little weird hug stance. The other one where he just kind of gives her some money for a cab and leaves rather abruptly at dinner. Nick's old college buddy Dirk pays a visit to help him get over Julia by dating 20-year-old college students. You know, always the best way to get over someone, I guess. And Winston and Shelby have a moment where they finally tell each other how they feel again. But also, Winston finds out something very interesting.
Ooh.
Very interesting. And we'll talk about that in a few moments. So let's jump right into how we feel about this episode. Al, I love this one. Tell me what you think.
This episode is a fun ride. Fancyman Part 1 was our introduction to Fancyman, and this one is just going along for the ride. That is what he'll put Jess through, whether like knowingly or unknowingly. I love it a lot. It's very eventful. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, that's true. I like how you use the word fun ride, because it is a trip, especially the one that Winston takes, all the way down to Mexico.
Nice.
With some, unintended travelers in the vehicle with him.
You know what it feels like? It feels like one of those crazy like stoner movies, like a Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar, right? Kind of does. Ben, what did you think about the episode?
I mean, for the most part, for me personally, like we could probably file this in the I don't really care sort of section.
Of course.
Look, Fancyman Part 1 was such a strong episode for me personally, and I kind of felt like this was a bit of a backstep. So I think especially parts of it, especially probably the Nick parts where we get a little bit of growth from him, or potential growth in Fancyman Part 1. And we get like the kind of feeling that maybe he's ready to do a little bit of growing up. Not in huge ways, but all of a sudden we go from him potentially wanting to sort his life out a little bit to him going and,
getting a visit from Dirk.
Just getting him as a friend Dirk, and then obviously just spending a lot of time with some young college students is what we'll say. So for me, parts of the episode worked, parts didn't. I really like you talked about the parts obviously of Winston going up to Mexico is great. Obviously finding out the big reveal obviously about Cece and Schmidt. So I thought there were some fun parts. The whole Dirk stuff, it just didn't do anything for me, to be honest. But the rest of it I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Rahul, what did you think?
Oh man, I'm kind of the opposite to Ben. Like in that, I agree that I liked Fancyman Part 1 like more than this one, but the Dirk stuff I found hilarious. Like I don't know why, I really liked Dirk. Like he's just living his life, you know, he's been a great wingman, just doing stuff. Like he seems to have had a hard life, and I was just like with like whoever it was, like Deb left him. Whoever, I mean, has he been in the episodes before this? Like, has he appeared in? Yeah,
Nope.
so this is
This was his first one.
I was like, I kind of like him. So yeah, like it wasn't as good as Part 1, but I really like this episode. A lot of stuff happening, some story progression, like the thing with that Winston kind of finds out the big thing, and that's going to probably we know it propels things in like future episodes. So I don't know, I really like this episode.
Really like.
I wouldn't worry too much, Rahul. I wouldn't worry too much. Ben likes Remy,
Yeah.
so
Ben likes Remy. That's fair.
you can like Dirk.
We've got
I
to
love
talk
this
about Dirk.
setup.
Okay.
I love this setup in this episode with Dirk, though, at the very beginning, where he's just in the bathroom with his pants around his ankles, and Jess is just completely appalled by it, and it's hilarious. He is. He doesn't care. And then he just starts randomly doing, like, for no apparent reason, doing yoga in the living room while everyone's just discussing how terrible he is kind of in the kitchen. And it's funny. And he just doesn't care. It's great. Have some great lines about Dirk to talk about. So let's just jump right in to the douchebag jar. So I've got quite a few lines, but you know what, Rahul? Let's jump to you. I want to hear what you've got for the douche jar.
These are Schmidt's douche jar lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a couple. I like the one he says at the start. So again, another one, because I'm not super familiar with the start of the season, because I watched season 1 sort of like a year or two ago, and I've sort of just been catching up on these episodes. Does the Manbulance come into this? Does he mention that name before this episode?
It's such a great line, though.
Yeah, so the line I was going to say is like, he like, Winston asks to borrow his car, and he says, I don't have a car. And he's like, Schmidt, can I borrow the Manbulance? And then his response isn't like, okay, cool, you use the name. He was like, no, the Manbulance is resting so it can take the team to a corporate retreat on Monday. And I was like, that's jar-worthy. Like, come on, the guy gave in. Like, Winston, like, gave into your dumb thing, and he called it the Manbulance. And you're like, you know what, you did, but I don't even care. I'm still going to give you shit for it. I was like, that's douche.
It's such a great line.
Yeah. And then the other line I picked up was just a little one he threw in there when he was talking to Cece, and he was like, oh, like, I'm really cold. Like, does your brown skin retain heat? And I was just like, all right, Schmidt. All right, buddy. But yeah, those are my two sort of standout douche jar lines.
He had some good ones this episode. Ben, what did you think?
Yeah, I think I definitely had those on there. I've definitely got that last line there, and the Harold and Kumar line that we've got, which is hi, I guess. Harold and Kumar, I love you both. All the zany adventures we've had.
Yep. Referring to Cece's boobs as Harold and Kumar is top tier douche.
It's got to be a winner. I think that's the winner for me anyway. But that's what I had on my list.
Yeah. Al, what did you think?
I have the big two, the brown skin retaining heat and the Harold and Kumar. But a non-douche jar one that just made me laugh is when he says, if you're going to seduce me, don't dress up like my Aunt Frida at Cedar. Like, that's to me, it's just funny. It's just non-douchey funny Schmidt. But yeah, those two are definitely up there. I don't know. I find it hard to pick one of the two. They're both very douchey, but that's
are. And those were the two that I had from Schmidt. I did have to grab two from Dirk, though, because he has some douchey lines in this episode as well, including when Cece walked in and said, someone left your door open, and he said, someone left your face beautiful. I was just like, what? Like,
He's
but
just,
it's
just
so
speaking freely, just living his life. He just,
it's
you know.
He's
so
such a
fast
creeper.
and so just like in there. I'm like, and I mean, it's something dumb that I would say to somebody who like just someone
If you
he's
knew
someone
him,
did this.
you know.
Well, someone this back to you, right? You just throw it back at someone, but just the way he does it is hilarious, and I love it. And then there is the line of "If pennies were snowmen, you were March."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. So all of Smitch's lines were so douchey this week. I don't know how you pick a winner. So yeah, I don't know.
I think those two are top. Is it the brown skin retaining heat or the Harold and Kumar for boobs?
Yeah,
And we could
I
probably
think
get a lot more of them
both.
together, I think. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we can have two winners this week for sure.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's the same big conversation, so let's just put that conversation
really-
and
yeah.
just throw it in that jar.
That whole thing goes right in the jar. All right, perfect.
But can I request something?
Sure.
Can we potentially just put Dirk in the jar because he's way more douchey than
Yeah,
I love
Schmidt this
it.
episode.
I love
But
it. Yes,
he does kill it in that role. Like, so he's such a creeper.
he does.
So
He
disturbing.
does.
It's like he's a creep and he
He's-
knows it and he's okay with it. He's just like, you know, I don't care. I'm just gonna do it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll work. You win some, you lose some, but he's just fine with it.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'm sure he's
pretty
probably in
much.
jail now for some sort of
Oh yeah,
charges.
absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely.
You never seen Martin Starr in Freaks and Geeks? Definitely check out Freaks and Geeks. It's amazing.
Okay.
So next we have our segment with our good friend Winston.
What's up, Winston?
Again, this episode, there was a few good Winston moments, but hey, at least he's the one who makes the big discovery of Schmidt and Cece. I love it. I love that he's the one who finds them, and it makes me so happy because I feel like this is kind of the moment that kicks his character into a higher gear, and we'll see that starting a bit more in the next episodes coming up. But this episode, it's still not a ton, I think, for me. Al, what did you think? You have some good Winston lines over there.
I have a few.
Okay.
I'm not going to read this whole thing, but the whole space monologue that he had.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is beautiful. Baby, look, I don't want space. Okay, I don't want to have space. I want to be standing right in front of you. I want the air you breathe to be the air coming directly out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to be
it was
passing
so
air
close.
between each of us until it's mostly carbon dioxide and until we
Yep.
both pass out and die. I was like,
Mhm.
it's intense. He's coming in with intensity.
It is
Exactly.
intense.
It's
I like it because it's what like a spontaneous kind of just honest,
Mm,
crazy
It really is.
monologue would sound like.
yeah, absolutely.
I have a couple
Yep.
more, but I'll hold on to them if nobody else
Okay.
calls them out.
Go ahead, Rahul. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
Any
I
good
got
lines?
that. That was the main line. I also just liked the
Mhm.
scene where he was with Dirk and Nick, and Dirk was he was
Yeah.
like, I told her to give us space, and Dirk was like, oh no,
And
you shouldn't have done that. And then he just has
This.
this moment,
Yep.
yeah, where like it all kind of comes to his mind where he's
Mhm.
like, oh crap, I screwed this up, and he just rushes
Can't give
off.
her
He's like,
space.
Get out of my way, bookworms! And
Yep.
just like, rushes over to his car, like
It's a
as if-
fantastic
as if-
scene.
he's just like, I'm going to Mexico now. Like he's
Mhm.
gone. And I also just like the scene where he's singing Gravity in the car. I just thought that was funny.
So funny.
It's great.
Ben, what did you think?
That's pretty much all I had. Is I just got here Winston singing in the car.
Yeah.
That's all I wrote down this week because that was great.
Some of my favorite lines were Shelby, you're so sexy, girl, in or out of the wig. And I carry your soul song with me wherever I go, just because
Aw.
who says that? But it's just so sweet, you know.
A cutie.
Also, I love that moment right before he finds out about Schmidt and Cece, where the cop at the border is asking him all the questions, and he goes, "No, sir, just me and my American heart full of love." And the cop goes, "Then how do you explain this?" And he goes, and it's just a look on his face. No one in
Yes,
the entire world can explain that. And that
he's not
moment
wrong.
it's no one, exactly. He's not wrong. It's perfect. And I love it so much. I think that's probably my favorite Winston moment. I mean, he's got some great moments in this episode. I love that moment though, because he just goes from up here down to here real fast, and it's perfect. He does it so well.
And to piggyback off of that one, is there's another line in reference to Schmidt and Cece where he says, because if somebody like you is sleeping with someone like her, then maybe the whole damn world is upside down. It's just what I'm thinking.
And he's just like speeding, blowing through stop signs and stuff. Like, I'm waiting for him to let go of the steering wheel and just let it, you know, hold like the whole Jesus take the wheel moment. Yeah, I'm waiting for it. It's gonna happen. Yeah, that's great. He definitely is starting to pick it up in this episode, and I love it because, like I said, in these later episodes, in the later seasons, Winston becomes one of my favorite characters. I love him so much. He's great, and I'm just so happy that he's finally picking up. So it's great.
One thing we probably didn't talk about in the Schmidt lines is probably that what do they call it at the back of the car? It's Schmidt's fantasy scene number 49 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Fantasy location number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty good. He has the locations numbered, which is interesting.
And it's implied that Cece has seen this list and is familiar with the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, exactly.
You can see the look of panic in her face when he says that.
Yeah. Fantasy location number 3. Yeah, it's great. Awesome. Let's head over to Nick's tips. Ben, what do we have for Nick's tips this week?
I've got some pretty good lines here for Nick actually this week. So what have we got here? Is calling a girl shorty still cool? The answer
Which
is
oddly enough was my nickname a long time ago.
Oh, that's nice. We've got the line with the college girl. College girl, could you get me drunk professionally? Nick, are you a cop? Sometimes. Do you have identifications on you?
And then they both just laugh, but like, Nick's kind of being serious.
Yeah. 20-year-old girls think I'm awesome, and look at them. They don't know what Saved by the Bell is, and they've never felt pain.
I love that line. That's my favorite.
That might be my favorite. I've got a couple more, but I think we should probably head over to Al or Rahul to get their lines first. We can always come back to me if they're not taken. Go
ahead, Rahul.
Cool. I think one of my favorite ones from is just when he gets out the car and he throws up, and then he kind of like, gets his mind back. He's like, all right, just thrown up, and then he's like, oh no, where is everybody? And then he just rings Dirk, and he's just like, when does a hill become a mountain? Because I think I've wandered into a mountain. And then Dirk just kind of says something, like mumbles something to him, and then hangs up. And then he's like, oh my God, Dirk is dead. He's just lost it. And it just goes like, what Ben was saying about how in the previous episode, he was kind of, showing some growth, and maybe he has some like, sort of something, it planted something in him where he's thinking about like changing things up and maybe growing up a bit. And then here he is just like throwing up after getting with some 20-year-old college girls, just not having a clue what's going on, just freaking out. And I was like, that's the Nick we know and love, So yeah, that was my favorite line from him. I also just like the bit when they're talking in the kitchen, and then I think I can't remember who says it, but someone brings up like sexcretary, and then he just says sexcretary. He just made that up. That's not a real thing. I was like, great. Perfect.
Yep. Al, how about you? What Nick tips do you have today?
I have a strange favorite one. It's right before that scene, Rahul, that you were talking about, where he vomits, and it's when he says, "I'd like to vomit now." That's to me, that's just a funny line.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think what else?
Who announces that they're about to vomit or would like to vomit?
Not me.
Like, I'd like to vomit now.
Like, around that same moment as well, the scene where he gets out the car and says, "I've never jumped out of a moving car before," and it's stationary. And then he was like, he doesn't even jump out; he just kind of falls out, and he's like, "That was badass." I was like, "Dear God, like, sort your life out, man."
That whole scene is just fantastic with Russell driving them home, or driving them to take the girls home is hilarious. And we really haven't talked about Russell a lot yet, which I mean, we're gonna have to bring him up, but he really I mean, I know he doesn't do a ton in this episode other than kind of annoy Jess a little bit, but you know, he really Kitty, that's my leg. Yeah, he really like that part, you know, he plays such a huge role in that part with Nick is hilarious. I just love when he's helping Nick out, and you know, it's great. It's a good moment. But yeah, that whole scene at the end there is fantastic with Nick. And you're right, it does. It just kind of all that growing he did in the last episode just right down the toilet there. So
some might say it got flushed.
Exactly.
He did it.
You're welcome.
0 week.
So
for the whole episode, where I was going to put that in, and there we go.
I was gonna say there's a really good
Gotcha.
line coming up that would have worked even better, but I still appreciate that one.
We can do that one too.
Okay.
Ben, did I miss anything from your list?
No, I think that's everything. I definitely had the moving out of the car badass line, and I'm just gonna go through the whole dialogue because I think it's great. This is from Rahul's list, but oh my god, it's happening! It's coming! I think I'm dying. I feel scared and excited. Hey, could I have walked into the? Could I have walked out into the mountains? When does a hill become a mountain? It just happened. So good. So good.
I also want to shout out the line he says when he's talking to Russell, and he says like, "Oh, Jess, like she's one of the good ones," and he just has this like nice sweet moment where he says he's drunk, he doesn't know what he's saying, but he says that from the heart, you know, he means that, and I was like, that was nice.
I believe he also says, "Not like you and I."
Yeah, that's
Not like you and I.
Oh, that's good.
All right, which brings us to
Kitty.
Say hi, Kitty.
Kitty.
So let's talk about Jess. So Al, do you have something to tell us about Jess from this week? Because she had some interesting moments for sure.
She was awesome. I have so many lines here. I love this one when she's like, "What's going on? Why is the cast of The Social Network in our apartment?" And
Yes.
that's being sassy. As I love that. I love it. And also during the party, she says, "Take out your tampon and drink, Trevor. The flip queen has spoken."
Yes.
Such a boss.
I'm gonna leave it there. You guys talk about which ones you have because I don't want to hog this up. I have a bunch. She's so good in this
I do
one.
too. There's so many from Jess. It's amazing. So go ahead, Ben. How about you?
Oh, I've got to go with the dialogue at the restaurant. How's your prostate? I had a breast exam last week, and like they're fine. It's just boob in there, but we have to be careful. Our bodies are decaying.
It's like a great topic of conversation on like a second or third date, right? Like,
Right.
Absolutely,
pretty good.
absolutely,
Talking about prostates and decaying bodies, like nailed it. I think, on the
absolutely.
conversation.
And possibly the most relatable line ever in New Girl. I want a donut.
Great line.
I think you're a hottie with a body, which I really thought was great.
Yes.
Now, Rahul, before just in case you haven't got this, have you got a line about Tiger Style on your list? Something to do with Tiger Style?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is just get ready, okay?
I'm
So,
ready.
Nick, your house guest is urinating in the bathroom, Tony the
Yes.
Tiger Style.
Yes.
Go, Rahul, go Rahul.
Wait, what?
He's urinating in the bathroom.
Oh,
In the toilet.
Go, Rahul.
Oh,
quick.
no, it doesn't feel right now because
Too
it feels
forced.
too forced. Yeah.
Oh, okay, buddy. Okay.
We didn't want an episode, but I see where you were going with that. That made a lot of sense now. I can't believe that didn't pop into my head when I guess because it happened at the very start of the episode. I kind
It
of
did.
forgot. But
It did.
damn, good shout.
And of course, we've got I thought I'd at least get a front pat, which
Oh yeah.
for my winner, I'm gonna go with the prostate dialogue. I thought that was pretty great.
That's a good.
prostate cheek.
It's a good
It was
point,
just-
yes.
Like quintessential Jess just being a bit awkward. It was great.
That was so good. Yeah, really strong episode, like you all said. For me, what do you have on your
She
list,
had a
Rahul?
Yeah, she did fantastic.
Yeah, I had basically the same ones. Yeah, I like the only one I think I had when she says guys my age normally want to skip the date and go for gold, which I don't give to them because I'm stingy with my gold unless they dig for it. And I was like, what does that mean? Which is great. And then he just said, so he patted me on the back. I thought I'd at least get a front pat, and then she just shouts like "hooah!" and then like, what's that? Which is great. But yeah, no, Jess had a great episode this time.
I do,
Fantastic.
and I actually have a line here that no one mentioned, which was probably my favorite part, and I think it might be because it's super relatable for me at least. Which it's horrible. He left, then he gave me $100 for a cab, and you know what? I'm gonna use the remaining $90 to get out of here and start a new life. It's been nice knowing you. I'm gonna die alone. I'm so sad right now. And then 30 sucks. So yeah, that's my favorite Jess moment for this week because it was perfect. And then she smashes the solo cup on Nick's face, and yeah, it was perfect. Yep, it was great. He's just like, weird play. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great. So let's get into the most debatable subject we have, our All-American hero. Because I know this week is going to be rough. So Rahul, I'm going to start with you.
Oh man.
So who is your MVP for this episode? Because I'm worried about the other two here.
I mean, honestly, I think it's got to be Jess in this one for me. She's got so many good lines. Like, she's got that like kind of, she's really nervous about things at the start of the episode, and she's got that range where at the end she's drunk and she's despairing about the situation. So like she shows like a good range of stuff in the episode, great lines. But also like a close second, which Ben might hate, but like I also thought Dirk was the MVP just because I found him really funny. Like some of his lines were just so good. And I just loved his like character of just he's an older guy. Things aren't possibly going the best in his life, but he doesn't care. He's just living his best life, and he's a great wingman for Nick. He gives Nick some confidence and like kind of boosts him up a bit. And I was like, he's a bit creepy. Agreed. But he's still got some heart. He's a good guy. But I think Jess is just a bit more of an MVP in this episode.
All right. Ben, who's your MVP?
I'm gonna go Jess as well. And pretty much for the same reasons as Rahul. Such a strong episode from Jess. Shout out to Zoe for the performance again, as always, just killing it. But I think it's exactly. And I think her whole through line story is probably a little bit more appealing than some of the other ones. Some fantastic lines. And the kitty cast.
I love the cats in this episode. It's fantastic.
It's so good. But pretty much all the same reasons, like I say, that Rahul said. Really, really strong episode from Jess. So no, I'm picking Jess for my MVP.
All right, Al. Who's your MVP?
I'm picking Jess.
Okay.
I'm picking
Jess.
Oh wow.
But I'd like to also say that I appreciate and understand why Rahul might gravitate towards picking Dirk, because at least that's a better option than Remy, because Dirk did do some good.
Why do you just get that knife in there and just twist it?
I'm just saying that he actually did.
Man. Right on the back, dude. It's so sore.
He's more valuable than Remy. You can definitely.
I mean, to be fair, he is the smartest guy that Nick knows.
I'm gonna throw you all for a loop.
Or the smartest guy that Nick knew, past tense, because apparently Nick thinks he's dead now.
It might be good for Nick's life, if he cuts him out.
I didn't pick Jess.
Whoa!
I picked Russell.
Yes, that was my second pick.
So Russell was my pick for MVP just because, he was. I understand where he was coming from in the beginning of the episode, but he also, after he was kind of, called out a little bit for it, he manned up and he showed up and told Jess, this is why I haven't dated since, what do you say, 1989, and she was 4 or something then, something crazy. Yeah, exactly. And then he also was there for everybody's very drunk selves and took everybody home and was super good guy in the end. He is Mr. Fancyman coming to the rescue. So I picked Russell Russell was my MVP. So you guys can have Jess, and Jess would have been my second pick, but I'm picking Russell this episode. So
Nice. We can all
So
agree
he could-
Shelby's at the
he's
bottom
my-
of the list too.
Hmm. But yeah, he had some good lines as well, like that, like when he's talking to Jess in the car, like he has that, like they're having that serious conversation, and then there's a point where it's just like, you know what, I like to do you at some point. I like to give it to you real good, and then she's like,
Yeah.
oh. like just came out of the blue. I was like, go Russell, like
It's
oh,
fantastic. He's great in this episode. I love him, and he's he's coming. And she's like, I just thought you liked me because I was young, and he's like, no, I like you, like. I'm just very out of practice. I haven't dated in a really, really long time. And at least he can admit that. And that's awesome. So
yeah.
I love Russell in this episode. He's fantastic. So he's definitely my MVP. So awesome. So let's get to who's that guest, because we do have one guest to add to the list this week, and that is Dirk, the degree collector, because that is what they refer to him as in this episode. He has a law degree, a business degree, a master's in agriculture, and he's getting his PhD in poetry, which just says that sucks for poetry. So, let's add him in here. I'm gonna run our list along the line here. We got Julia, Russell, Genslinger, Remy, Sadie, Glasses Kid, Crazy Principal Lady, Cliff the Little Intern, Coin Slot Kid, Green Arrow's Tongue, Shelby, and Oliver, rounding out our list at the moment. So that begs the question, where are we putting Dirk the degree collector? Because
He's better than Shelby,
he is definitely better than Shelby. That is for sure.
And Rahul's almost selling me on, on Dirk. So maybe we can.
I mean, I do like Dirk a lot, but I'm trying to remember, like, because again, as I said earlier, like I'm not super familiar with the first all the episodes in the first season because I've still been rewatching random episodes. But like because he was almost my MVP, I feel like he should be quite high up there. Probably not as high as like probably below Genslinger, but I'm not sure after that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
He's taking over
no,
Remy's
I don't,
spot.
no, I don't
Oh,
like
no.
this.
Do it.
Oh
Oh
no!
no! That's
so
another
that's
backstep.
I like Dirk a lot in this episode. He was my second, like he was potential MVP. So for me, he's got to be high up there. But yeah,
I agree.
I'd probably say put him at number 4.
Stop smiling out.
Agree. Do you even
So,
remember who Remy is? Rahul, do you remember who Remy was?
No.
Okay, good. So
But
there
he
you
might
go.
not have seen the episode. He's just seen random ones.
No, he's seen them all. He's seen them all, I'm sure.
I've seen the whole first season, but just not recently. Who is Remy? Remind me.
Remy's the landlord who's
think
like
he's the
Nick
freeway one.
if like 20 years from now was still a loser.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I still. I
He did
mean,
no
I
good,
guess
Rahul.
Dirk
He
is-
did nothing good.
Yeah, I
He's-
mean,
he's
Dirk is
He
still more
tried to have a
memorable.
threesome with Nick and Jess.
Oh no! Oh my God! Yes, it is all flooding back now. Yeah, I think Dirk's got to be better than him.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a
So,
big Dirk fan though, just because of the way he lives his life. So I'm gonna put him up quite high up there. So it's gonna be number 4 for me.
Ben, are you okay?
I'm okay.
What have I done?
It's just. Oh man, that hurts. The betrayal, but
I was always
How-
clear about how I felt about Remy. There's no betrayal here.
I know, but how do you feel about putting Dirk above Remy, Ben?
I mean, I kind of feel he's probably just above Shelby, below Green Arrow's
Oh,
tongue.
wow.
That's where I'd put him. But
That's low.
I mean, Martin Starr does a fantastic job, but he's such a
Yes,
creep.
he does. I feel like he for me hits about midpoint on this list because I really enjoy Glasses Kid more than Dirk.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you enjoy
That is
Glasses Kid
great.
more than Remy, Erica?
Glasses Kid is Elvin, right?
Alvin,
Is that who-
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. No,
Um,
he is cool.
we all know how I feel about Elvin. I love Elvin. He's one of my favorite characters in season 1, but I was okay with putting him lower on the list.
Do you like Elvin more or less than Remy?
I like Elvin more than Remy.
See,
Yeah, I know.
I think Remy is
I know,
the
but we
odd one
can't all-
out in that top 5.
I know.
This
But
isn't
we let
about
it go
Remy,
high.
okay?
It's not about Remy.
This is
It's
about
about
Dirk.
Dirk.
Stop trying to
And
push
I
your agenda out, okay?
I think Dirk. I like Dirk. I would say I'd put Dirk at 6. I like Dirk at number 6.
Who's number 5?
Sadie. I would not put Dirk above Sadie.
Sadie's
I
great.
adore Sadie. Sadie's fantastic. I would not put Dirk above Sadie. And
Again,
Sadie
Sadie
to
belongs
remind
up there. I
yes,
do not have
Sadie
a
is the
problem with
lesbian
Sadie.
gynecologist.
The-
I adore her. I would not put Dirk above her. That's my opinion. So,
There are people above her that shouldn't be above her, is all I'll say.
Al, where do you want to put Dirk?
I say Dirk belongs in the number 4 spot.
Yes.
Above Sadie? You're breaking my heart. Okay, how about
Only
we split the
because-
difference? Oh, we'll split the difference and put him at number 5.
I'm
Or
okay
how
with
about this? We can put him as a tie for number 4. We'll do Remy / Dirk.
Ooh.
It might upset Elmore.
Are you saying Dirk and Remy are the same level?
How do you feel about that, Ben? Can we
I'm happy
have
with number
them
5.
tie for-
5 sounds like a great compromise if we put him at number 5.
I'll put Dirk on the second half of it, okay, Ben? Shh.
I can see Al in like 4 episodes from now going, "Who the hell is Dirk? What the
Who the hell is Remy?
You know,
Okay,
Remy
I'm
is.
good either way. As long
He's
as these
miserable.
4, 5, even 6 is fine.
Out of spaces. Oh,
Oh
no.
no.
We're gonna
Okay, we can get
have
rid of
to-
Oliver.
Oh no, hold on. I have an idea. One spot.
Are you just making one additional banner?
No. It doesn't work.
By the way, can we talk about Tony the Tiger? Was it Dirk wasn't wearing like a
He was wearing a
kerchief or
He was.
okay.
Yeah, because Jess,
Uh-huh.
He was,
Jess says something about him wearing a lady's scarf or something like that.
but that wasn't all he was wearing, was it?
No,
And
no,
a
no.
shirt. And a shirt.
Yeah, so
here
that's
we
why he wasn't Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Genslinger.
He was
Remy
more like
/
Winnie
Dirk
the Pooh or Paddington, as they say.
Exactly.
Sadie, Glasses Kid, Crazy Principal Lady, Cliff the Little Intern, CSK, which is Coin Slot Kid, Green Arrow's Tongue, Shelby, and Oliver, which I just took off the R because we don't really need it because Oliver sucks. So there is your list for now.
I love that list so much.
More.
Dirk, the degree collector. So we'll always remember who Dirk is.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need to add more names so you can remember who they are.
Are you happy
And
now?
200
Al? You got the
characters is
file
not-
for
I'm
me.
very happy. I'm very happy. Thank you, Ben.
Whew.
All right. Let's move on before we fight more about this to our ratings. Let's talk about how many Schmitties we're giving this episode. Rahul, you are the guest. How many Schmitties are you going to give this episode?
I really like this episode. It wasn't as good as Fancyman Part 1 for me, which is my favorite episode of the season. But I still really liked it. As we said, there's a lot of different interesting plot lines going on. Like Winston has propelled a bit more after he finds out the whole secret. And yeah, I liked Dirk as a character. It was a fun episode for that stuff. So I'd probably give it 8 out of 10 Schmitties.
Nice. Ben, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's an episode for me anyway that had, I talked about it at the start, but obviously probably it had some highs, but had some real lows for me. And I feel like I don't quite understand why they called it Fancyman Part 1 and Part 2 when it's such a departure from the first one. There's not a lot of through line story with it other than the fact that Russell's in it for a little bit. I mean, like I say, some great moments. Obviously, finding out with Cece and Schmidt and Winston's reaction, like you talked about, Eric, was fantastic. I will say, I want to give a little bit of a shout out because I know we don't really like her very much on the show because she's a pretty bit of a dud character. But I will say Shelby did have one great line this episode, which I really appreciated, which was I have like 50 different penis items in my carry-on, the plane goes down. There's going to be some sharks doing some really weird stuff, which I actually appreciate.
That was
I thought that was a great
fantastic. It was a great line.
So I thought just to give her a little bit of a shout out, because I know she's not the greatest character, but we did get some great, nice moments there with her today. So all in all, yeah, the episode for me fell a little bit flat. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 Schmitties.
All right. Al, how do you feel?
I can definitely relate more to Rahul's 8 out of 10. But I can also definitely see, Ben, you're absolutely right. This has no business being Fancy Man Part 2. Fancy Man Part 1 was a much stronger episode, but this was just plain popcorn fun for me. I enjoyed it for what it was.
I totally agree. There is no reason this could be a part 2. I feel like there are future episodes that would have been better off as a part 2, honestly, rather than this episode. I mean, yes, he was there, but I mean, yeah, this wasn't a part 2. There was no carry through. There was nothing. It's kind of sad, you know. I think there could have been a lot more potential, but I still love this episode. It was a good episode. It was a lot of fun. We still had a lot of development and ups and downs from lots of characters. So I think I am going to give this one a 7. So
Nice.
good times though. Fun episode. But you know what? Let's go on to something else like, hey girl, what you doing? So Rahul, hey girl, what you doing?
What up? What am I doing? So actually, so the if you guys did check out the sports podcast episode of the Optimistic Underdog that I did with Erica, I think 2 weeks ago, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. I was talking about esports, and I was talking about the team that I support in League of Legends going up against their rivals. And this weekend, today, in about 3 hours, they are going up against each other for the second time in the regular season. Big rematch for the season. So I'm going to be doing that this evening. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll probably be streaming a bit more Hitman tomorrow. So yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love talking about the esports so much with you, and I can't wait to do it some more because we're definitely going to be doing that, and it's going to be awesome. So awesome. Let's go on next to Jake Watch. Has anybody heard anything from Jake Watch or anybody else for that matter?
Jake it up, Jake it up. Oh.
There's absolutely nothing. I'm searching the hashtag.
Someday.
There's, yeah.
Hashtag let Jake know, people.
Hashtag let Jake know.
If you're one of those people that went round to his house with one of those signs, please let us know. Okay. We appreciate you.
Oh.
All right. Well, I think that does wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like always, hey, if you want to leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, reviews, we do appreciate that. And if you can, hey, check out our Patreon at the official unofficial pod over there on patreon.com. We have a few different levels, and we're going to be adding some new stuff soon for the Optimistic Underdog podcast too, which is going to be super exciting and fun. And I'm really excited about all of that. So, but again, if that's not your sort of thing, no big deal. We do appreciate y'all watching and, like I said, liking, subscribing, all that cool stuff. Al, where can everybody find you?
I'm Al Tribesman on everything, and go check out our website for all the links, theoupod.com. You can subscribe to several feeds. You can give us reviews. That would be very nice.
We appreciate the subscribes, especially on YouTube, because we are getting closer and closer to that awesome, cool, fun custom link every day. We have goals.
Absolutely.
That's the one. That's the one. Ben, what about you?
You can find me on the new Simply Sassy show, Game Sass, which is a new game show. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't checked it out, please head over to simplysassyvids.com. You can also find me at please, the letter B, and then excited with an X. You can find me there at Please Be Excited on Twitter and Twitch. For all your Please Be Excited needs. I will say, please, if you can, subscribe to the show on YouTube. It makes a massive difference. You know, if you've got a nosy neighbor, just yell over the fence the URL. If you're getting those updates from your dentist, They're a real pain in the ass, and they always scare me when they come through. So maybe reply to their emails with the URL and try and get them into the show that way. That would be fantastic. Just anyone that you know that be interested in it, whether they like New Girl or not. I think it's always a fun ride. So yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. It'd be amazing. It really helps us out.
Exactly. Hey,
We're going for that 50. We're going for the 50. We're so close.
Yeah. We're almost there. And then 100 after that. And then who knows? Sky's the limit. And we are doing more than just New Girl. We did just put out an episode with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which was super fun. And look for more movies and music and other things too coming soon.
Ooh.
Also, thank you again so much for joining us, Rahul. Tell all the good folks.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Rahul.
Super fun. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at @rahulahoop with an underscore, and also twitch.tv/rahulahoop with an underscore. And yeah, I just want to shout out also the OU pod. You guys have been awesome. I've really enjoyed being on you guys' content, sports podcast, the 2 episodes of this New Girl in review, and also to Game Sass. I loved watching that, by the way. Ben was great. And also,
Thanks,
I'm
buddy.
a sponsor of the show, so
Yeah.
you may get to see a little clip
Little
of me in
surprise.
that episode. So look out for that.
We cameo, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It was beautiful. But yeah, it's been so much fun, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been great.
Oh, it's always a blast having you on, Rahul. We love you, buddy.
Yeah. We love having you here. So
Thank
anytime.
you.
Absolutely. Patreon shout outs for this month are
We have the one, the only Kesselwinks. We also have the amazing Mr. Mac. And we have McKenna. Shout out to you amazing people. Now, Erica, where can people find these incredible people doing amazing things?
you can find Kesselwinks at Kesselwinks on Twitch and Twitter, Mr. Mac92 on Twitch and Twitter at the same name, and McKenna you can find at PotterPants212 on Twitter, and find her awesome work on Patch Notes over at YouTube and on podcast services.
Now, I hear with Patch Notes that it sounds like it's all the gaming news just in one short, concise video. Is that correct?
Absolutely is. It's definitely great, and you should all check it out.
Love it. Well, thank you to all you amazing, beautiful Patreon people. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for all the incredible support. We love you so much.
Thanks, guys. And as always, you can find me at Ambelina on Twitter and Twitch and everywhere else. And until next time, keep it unofficial.
Damn it. I was just texting Emma. I was going to put we might be a little late. I was going to put we might be a little bitch.